saying it's just played. Come after me! I'm a man! I'm for you! Can't wait! Let's go!
Welcome back, everybody, to Sideline. The OG crew is in the building. We have everyone back, and hopefully it could stay this way. Obviously, we're going to have a little bit of weirder show next week for Thanksgiving, but we'll talk to you guys about that. But here we go. To my left, I got the Prince of Production for Sports Empire Network, the King, Kyle Edwards. How you feeling, Kyle?
I'm good. I'm excited. Another week of football plus Thanksgiving week coming up. Good time to be an NFL fan.
Get your turkeys ready.
Absolutely.
Directly below me, my brother from another, my taking it deep partner, the Godfrey THEE. How you feeling tonight, D?
It's good to be back home. Great vacation, but it always feels good to be back home just in time for Thanksgiving, and we're in the thrust of football season.
Thrust.
Has anybody ever had a turducken? Because I kind of want to try it.
I think it's a turkey that just has more legs.
No, it's part duck.
Oh, is it? Oh, it's okay. Welcoming us back. Hopefully he can join us for a lot more episodes. He's not guarding the 2. He's guarding the 3. Brett, guard a who? Guard a 3. How you feeling tonight, Brett?
I'm doing great. Can't wait to talk some football.
Well, speaking of football, we have some really good matchups this week. We have a great Monday night game, a great Thursday night game. But before we get into games, I just want to do a little small slither of recap. But I want to start with Trevon Diggs, because it's not Stephon that's making these tweets. It's not Stephon making these comments or these posts. But let's bring up the comments that Trevon Diggs said, man, get 14 out of there. Talking about Trevon Diggs getting out of there. Then the liked comment of the fake Trevon Diggs account where they said, I told Josh to throw me the ball. I'm open. He said, put on a Broncos jersey, and I will. There's a lot of things coming out from Trevon Diggs, and I think it's directly from his brother. I'm going to tell you something right now. If I didn't want my brother to say something on the internet, I would call him up and say, take that down, and he would take it down. That would be that. That would be the end of that. Does anybody on this panel truly believe that these are not the thoughts of one Trevon Diggs himself? Even though, earlier today he ran back the comments. He's like, that's my brother. You're going to talk about him with respect, but his thoughts are his own thoughts. And he's coming from a fan's perspective and blasey. Anybody on the side of Trevon Diggs here?
No. Because if it wasn't him, like, why would his brother go through this trouble to just put it out there just randomly? Clearly it's something that they've talked about, or like he's heard Stephon say this kind of things. And I just feel like it just continues with what Trevon Diggs has been about this year. Tantrums on the sideline, never looking like he's happy. So I have no reason to believe it wasn't from him.
I mean, I don't know if it was. It could have been. It's plausible. It could have been his brother shooting off independently. That's plausible too. Maybe they've had conversations about it, and he just decided to dry snitch on him. I will say that I could appreciate Trevon Diggs' frustration, because if you look at Josh Allen, he's turning the ball over pretty often. I mean, he wants to win, right? I mean, I don't know. I think he's going to get heat because I guess they think he's threatening Josh Allen, but listen, he wants to win. I mean, and so Steven brings up they fired the offensive coordinator. What a scapegoat move that was. I mean, is it Ken Dorsey's fault? Maybe. I don't know, man. I just think healing, winning heals all wounds, and on this show, I think some of us picked the Bills not to even make the playoffs. Looks like that's a possibility. I think, and it's coming to fruition. I think Sean McDermott's in deep trouble. You know, he's not known for being an offensive coach, but I don't know. Maybe Brian Daboll gets fired as the Giants coach because there's, even though it's perceived not to be his fault, he might end up being the offensive coordinator again for the Bills next year. The way things are going,
Why not?
Or the head coach, or the head coach.
Three. Just want your thoughts, Brett. Stephon Diggs, Trevon Diggs. What do you think?
Everything that I've gathered off Stephon Diggs, I can't believe that he didn't have any part in what Trevon Diggs said. Like, we have a guy complaining about his role in the offense last year, even though he got targeted 158 times. Just the way he's acted with the tantrums, complaining about his role in the offense already, and just all the clues that I've gotten from him, I think he had a part in this. He probably is unhappy. He's probably unhappy, and yeah, Josh Allen throws a lot of interceptions. That's true, but half of those a lot of them seem to be him trying to force the ball to Diggs. So he wants.
It's funny you say that, though, Brett. I want to ask you a question real quick. I want to follow up with it because it seems like you guys are all in agreement of what I'm saying, that it's Stephon Diggs making these comments. So I'm going to preface this by saying he forced his way out of Minnesota, complaining about the quarterback and throwing temperature tantrums on the sideline. It looked like a match made in heaven. We blamed Kirk Cousins. We said, look, Diggs is now an elite wide receiver. Stephon Diggs wasn't a top 10 receiver before he came to Buffalo. He was the number 2 on Minnesota, behind Adam Thielen. Call it like it is. My question I would ask is, if not Buffalo, then who? What team would be a better fit realistically for Stephon Diggs? And don't say Kansas City, because Andy Reid never puts up with that. Ever.
I still think Buffalo is the best fit, but if we had to go somewhere else, I mean,
you got to pick somewhere other than Kansas City. Realistic. Can't go to Miami, Tyreek Hill's there. Can't go to Philadelphia, A.J. Brown's there. Talk about complaining about targets. Could you imagine if he's the number 2? Anthony Price said New England. Get out of here. Stop it. Be a quarterback.
Yeah, you do need a quarterback.
What would be the ideal landing spot? Seriously, where would he go? Amon-Ra's over in Detroit. Where? Keenan Allen, Mike Williams over there in L.A. for the Chargers.
So he has to be the number 1.
If he's complaining about targets, catching 158 balls, yes, he'd have to be the number 1.
Yeah, I mean, that's tough. I mean, you need a good quarterback. So there's so many ones that are in my head there. I'm like, maybe he fit well with Detroit, but you got Amon there.
Anthony Price just brought up a great comment. It's the first one I actually somewhat agree with.
Mm-hmm.
C.J. Stroud and the Texans.
Yeah.
They have the money. They have the young quarterback. That might be a fit. I just don't know if DeMeco Ryans would put up with that, if I'm being honest.
So here's the thing.
Go team first.
Stephon Diggs was always the better receiver than Adam Thielen. I always felt that way. Felt they underutilized him when he was in Minnesota constantly.
Okay.
And I felt like I remember when he got traded, the Vikings fans were like, oh, you won't do nothing over there. Well, that changed. And he did better. So I don't know, man. He's a competitor. I mean, I just think he wants to win. If they're winning, I don't see that having a problem. I mean, they're in bad shape right now. They're really, I mean, you just got waxed at home by the Broncos, who are a resurging team right now, believe it or not. I mean, some people don't want to admit that, but you take out that Dolphins game, they haven't been playing that bad a ball. Russell's been having a good season, and they got waxed at home, and they could have won that game. 12 men on the field. I mean,
that's not on the offensive coordinator. That's not on Josh Allen.
It's not.
They've been playing Sean McDermott.
Yeah, they've been playing undisciplined. I mean, and it's showing. I mean, and they could have won that game. I don't know. Are we having a different conversation and they won the game? I'm not sure, but it just seems like someone said something today about him saying like he keeps trying to play every game like he's playing that Chiefs game where they lost and almost got to the Super Bowl. I think he does force stuff.
How do you look last year in the Bengals game? I don't want to get too far into
Awful.
this. The second question I'm going to ask you guys, and we're going to be quick on this, but Deshaun Watson is now out for the year. Are the Cleveland Browns finished? Kyle?
I give him a chance because of the defense as long as DTR doesn't turn the ball over. They're going to probably play conservative offensively, but I think the defense gives them a chance.
They have to
three.
walk a
Are they
tightrope.
finished?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I don't really give him a chance. DTR looked fine in the preseason, but as soon as he faced a regular season defense, he looked like a fish out of water. He did not give me any signs that he can take this offense and even have it at a respectable level. The defense is going to probably keep him in a lot of games. I just think DTR is going to lose all those games, so I don't think the Browns compete from this point forward.
Is PJ Walker hurt?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it long term?
Let me double check for you.
I did think that as well. It seemed kind of odd they just went to DTR right away.
Yeah, because PJ Walker, I mean, listen, he was serviceable. He won some
No,
games.
he's not no longer hurt. He's healthy. He can play.
I don't
They're
know what
They're
the
choosing
listen,
to start DTR.
I know people are hot on Josh Dobbs, but he was in their camp at one point this year. Okay. The Browns just seem to be zagging when they should be zigging. You know what I mean? Like they're just taking the wrong move slightly each way.
The move for the Browns is very clear. Ryan Tannehill has asked for his release. You want Ryan Tannehill. That's what you want to do. That's the move.
Yeah, by the way, big miss on the Titans for not trading him. But whatever. It wouldn't have hurt him cap-wise. But yeah, the Browns, I think they're done. I'm sorry. I mean, if you're already making decisions like PJ Walker won you 2 games, almost won you 3 if he didn't hit the helmet and that freak interception that happened against the Seahawks. So, I mean, I don't know why the guy's not starting. Something makes zero sense unless they're like, you know what? It's done. Let's see what we have in DTR. Or is that the initials?
Yeah, DTR. Dorian Thompson-Robertson.
Yeah, so let's see what we have there. I don't know why they want to see that. I mean, you guarantee Deshaun Watson's contract, so they are cooked. It's good. Listen, the defense is good.
The worst. Is that the worst contract ever? Like the worst trade, 3 first-round draft picks. Like, look at Houston right now, and you ask yourself a situation. If you're a GM and you're taking over a franchise, who do you want to take over? You want to take over Houston or Cleveland right now?
Oh, Houston easily.
Right? They have 3 first-round draft picks. They have C.J. Stroud. They got Will Anderson Jr. They got D'Amico Ryans, Derek Stingley Jr. They got a ton of just absolute raw talent. And they got a ton of money.
Yeah,
a ton of money to spend.
Talk about a situation going completely 360 the way it looked at first. I mean, at first, listen, it's a shame because Deshaun Watson, before all this came out, I felt like he was one of the good guys. Like, I remember him writing a check to cafeteria workers, after the Houston hurricane, right? The hurricane.
Were any of them masseuses?
Say what?
Were any of them masseuses?
They weren't. They weren't. But, and he did that.
He wrote a lot of checks to them.
He did. And I was like, oh, that's one of the good guys. And that's something like that came out. And I'm like, man, is it true? I hope it's not. But it turns out to be true. And he's not really a great guy. And, it's not going well for him. And, the Browns made a franchise-altering decision. And they keep messing up in the short term. They should have kept Josh Dobbs. He's playing good ball. They should have kept
Josh Dobbs is like the best story of the year right now.
Yeah, they should have kept. PJ Walker. I still don't get that. I need to read into that more. I didn't think PJ was hurt, and he has played.
He gave a full explanation. I didn't read the article yet. They gave a full explanation of it. But I'm going to ask you guys, all 5 of you guys. I did this already, and I'll give you my 5 first. Mid-season MVP before we get into our games this year. Mid-season MVP. I'll give you my top 5. So this way you can pick from something if you want. My number 5 is Dak Prescott. He's my number 5. My number 4 is C.J. Stroud. Now, I have all quarterbacks on my list, right? And I have all quarterbacks for a reason. They never give it to wide receivers. They never give it to running backs. Christian McCaffrey and Tyreek Hill would both be on my list. If they did, they don't. However, I go 5 Prescott, 4 Stroud, 3 Tua Tagovailoa, 2 Patrick Mahomes, and 1 Jalen Hurts. I think he's the MVP of the league right now. I love your top 5, or you can give me just your 1. I don't care where you're at. You can even do the offensive player of the year thing and put, Christian McCaffrey and Tyreek Hill in there. That's fine. They won't win it. I promise you.
Yeah. Oh, man. I mean, I kind of agree with the list. The only one I might argue is the Dak one at 5. I might put McCaffrey at 5 because, like you said, they're obviously not going to win it, but you can toss him a couple of votes here or there to make it to fully acknowledge the kind of year he's having. Outside of that, yeah, I can't really argue with the top 4 there.
Well, I'm going to give you the odds just so you know what they are.
Okay.
The odds right now, the favorite right now is Patrick Mahomes at plus 270. Jalen Hurts is plus 300. Tua plus 550. Lamar plus 550. Joe Burrow plus 1,700. CJ Stroud plus 2,000. Then you got Purdy, Josh Allen, Christian McCaffrey, Trevor Lawrence, Jared Goff, Dak Prescott. That's the order. They're the odds. What are your thoughts on it?
I mean, Lamar being where he is, it seemed like for a while,
Never.
people want to make it seem like Lamar was like the runaway MVP type, which I never believed in. Especially looking at the game against the Browns, it's like, yeah, you got to knock him for that. I mean, that's an interesting list. Having McCaffrey where he is, and Dak was dead last on that list. I'm sure Cowboys fans are crying about that one. I'm not mad at it.
It's only been done one time, Rookie of the Year and MVP. I will give you guys all a chance to answer this. Same year, it's been done one time ever in NFL history. It's a great trivia question.
Eric Dickerson.
That's a great answer. It's not right, but that's a great answer. Okay. If that gives you any hint of
Barry Sanders,
where to go,
you
get one guess, sir.
See, now I want to say Barry Sanders, but I'm not going to.
Okay.
Whatever. I'll just say Barry Sanders because I can't really.
Incorrect. That's also a great line of thinking.
I'll take a shot in the dark. I'll say Jim Brown.
That is correct. 1957. Jim Brown was the MVP and the Rookie of the Year. Same season. Great answer, Garter 3. Our walking almanac. Who's your MVP, Garter 3?
I honestly agree with like the mixture of yours and Kyle's list. I think it is Jalen Hurts right now with Mahomes and Tua picking up the 2 and 3 spots. And I think CJ Stroud has absolutely played himself into the MVP conversation, even though we know for a fact he's a lock for offensive rookie of the year, but he's not going to win it. But I do like McCaffrey at 5. I do agree that he doesn't have a chance to win it. But I think they'll throw him enough votes that he will crack the top 5. So I would put him at 5.
Godfrey.
I put McCaffrey at 3, and I would put Jalen at 2. If all things are equal, we know it's going to be a quarterback. So if we're just going quarterback, I'm going Jalen 1. But if we're talking about all positions, I would go Tyreek Hill at 1 right now, my slight edge. I think he's that important to that team, and he's having a great season. Slight edge, but if we're going realistic rankings, I'm going to put Jalen 1. Definitely not putting Dak Prescott at 5. Like that's just wild to me. Christian McCaffrey scores touchdown almost every game. He's on quite a streak. And I'm going to tell you that he's as important to the offense as anybody on that team. And, he's been playing well. He hasn't been getting hurt. He's taking full advantage of that offense. It fits his skill set. I got to have him at 3. I mean, I don't know anybody else you could really argue, but Prescott and Lamar Jackson, stop.
Let's pregame the Thursday night game tonight. The Cincinnati Bengals are traveling to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. 2 MVP candidates in Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow will be facing off against each other for the second time this year. The Baltimore Ravens won earlier this year, and that was the Joe Burrow calf injury issues. And we did hear all that, but no excuses, right? Baltimore won the game in Cincinnati. Does Cincinnati return the favor in Baltimore? Now, no T. Higgins kind of hurts a little bit. Both teams coming off a loss last week. The Ravens lost that late game versus the Cleveland Browns, and the Bengals, man, Tyler Boyd made a great play to get him down there, but drops the touchdown pass that probably wins the football game. Who do you like in this one? Joe Burrow and the Bengals at Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. I'll start with you, Kyle.
Give me Joe Burrow. I feel like if there's no way the Ravens are going to sweep the Bengals in the season series. Like, let's be honest. And the same way that the Bengals are missing Higgins, the Ravens don't have Humphrey. I believe with Ronnie Stanley, their tackles out tonight as well.
That's correct.
So, and I think the Bengals are missing Hubbard, but they still have Hendrickson or whatever. So we'll see. Can he cause some havoc for Lamar? It'll be interesting to see if Lamar has to make plays with his arm, can he do it? Because he still likes to run a lot. And I just think, the Bengals will have Mixon who'll get some work in this game. And I think Chase will put up Chase numbers and they get revenge off the early season loss to the Ravens and they get it done. I'd say probably by a touchdown.
Who do you like in the game? Guard of 3. Chris West said Lamar and the Ravens. Steven Chambers said Bengals are hungry for a win, but I'm picking the Ravens by 3. Guard of 3. Who you got, bud? You're on mute, brother. I love hearing your voice. You're on mute, though.
Oh, sorry. I think this will be a really fun back and forth game, but I'm going to take the Bengals in this one. I think they'll be a little more hungrier. I think they'll be trying to make sure that the Ravens don't sweep them, but the Bengals at this point, I think they just need to win more, and I think they'll really show that. I think this will be a fun divisional game, but I like the Bengals by a field goal.
Okay. Godfrey, tell me where you're at.
This is a gift for bettors. Take the plus 3.5 and bet the money line at plus 152. Jamar Chase is going to eat tonight. The Bengals have to win this game. And I feel the Ravens are getting exposed. How you are up against the Browns in the fourth quarter by that much and cough up that game is inexcusable. And this is the ghost of Ravens past creeping in. Here we are again. Same narrative from last year. Up, losing games in fourth quarter. Lamar, I don't think it's, a front-runner MVP. He's throwing a lot of short passes. Don't be fooled by the stats. A lot of short passes. And he's not taking full advantage of the route tree. He's not taking full advantage of the talent at the receiver position and the spread offense that they're trying to run. I don't see it. He still likes to run a lot. And I just don't see I could see the Bengals waxing them tonight. On a short week, they're reeling. I just see it. And I just think the Bengals have more fight in them. And they're just one of these teams that could turn it on when they need to turn it on. They shouldn't have lost that game last week, but they did. Give it to the Texans. They were in a game and won a game that a lot of people didn't have them winning. You got to give credit where it's due, but I just don't see the Bengals dropping 2 back-to-back. It's a division game, and I think Jamar Chase is going to just eat.
I'm going to tell you something right now. There's been 2 big differences to that Ravens defense. That Ravens defense has been elite this year. The differences are Roquan Smith and Kyle Hamilton. They're 2 of the best young players at their positions in all football. I think this is no blowout by any means. I think it's a very, very tight game. And because of that, give me the Bengals plus 3.5. But I will not be surprised if Justin Tucker is kicking a walk-off field goal tonight. I'll take the Bengals. I'll go with Burrow over Lamar. But this will be a very good football game. Without Marlon Humphrey, I can see Joe Burrow throwing the ball, slinging the rock tonight. Jamar Chase should have a huge game. I have Jamar Chase in all of my same-game parlays. I love him tonight. So we'll go Bengals 27, Ravens 24. All right, well, let's get into Sunday's action. Let's break down some of these football games, gentlemen. We got a lot on the docket, but not a lot of good games. But we will talk about the first place game in the AFC North. The Pittsburgh Steelers are hosting the Cleveland Browns tonight, this Sunday at 1 o'clock. It's the best 1 o'clock game that you can look at. Probably not the best game to watch, but based off of records, this is going to be an ugly football game. Do you think the Browns can overcome Dorian Thompson-Robinson, or do you think that Steelers defense finds a way to win? I got to give Kenny Pickett credit. In the fourth quarter, he's got over 100 quarterback rating. So the Steelers are finding ways to win football games. They're 6-3 on the season. I don't think this Cleveland Browns team with a rookie quarterback can beat Pittsburgh. I just don't believe it. I think losing Deshaun Watson and now and also Nick Chubb, is too much for Cleveland. I think they fold like a lawn chair. I got the Steelers in this one.
I kind of want to pick the Browns, but the problem is going to be for DTR's like first game, knowing he's a starter, getting the week of preparation. I just don't know what that's going to look like. Maybe in a couple of weeks he looks better under center, and then you could be like, oh, maybe they'll start winning again. I definitely agree it's going to be an ugly game. Expect 16-13 type of score. I'm going to go Browns. I'm going to say that Garrett and that defense keeps Pickett, George Pickens, and all that under wraps, and it becomes like a field goal game. And DTR plays with his legs or something to get them enough points to win it.
Brett, who you got?
This one I got the Steelers, and I got them winning by. I'll take 24-10. I think the defenses will keep it close. It'll be 17-10 going into the fourth quarter. You pointed out it earlier. Kenny Pickett just gets better as the game goes along. I think in the fourth, he ups his game, gives them that one final touchdown drive, and puts the game away by 2 scores. So I'm going to take the Steelers, and I'm going to take them by 2 touchdowns.
Godfrey.
Woo! I'm going Browns. Listen, you could pass on the Steelers. I just to give you guys a little update, because I know I was asking why DTR. So the coach feels when he did have to start, it was right before the game, didn't get a lot of preparation. He feels that he's been making a lot of anticipatory throws in practice. He's been looking a lot better. They said PJ Walker was setting the world on fire with a 1-5 interception ratio, touchdown interception ratio. And, even though Walker went 2-1, they felt like from what he's shown in training camp and in practice, he's the better quarterback, and that's why they're going with him. He gives them a better chance to win. This is from Van Pelt, the offensive coordinator. So the reason why they let Dobbs go is because they felt so confident in DTR. So the Browns have showed, from what they've gone through this year, if you think about it, and the record they're at, they're showing a lot of resiliency. Okay. That defense is nasty. People don't talk about it. That's a nasty defense. Now, I don't think that can win them a lot of games alone, but I don't really think the Steelers are that good as well. I mean, their record says they're 6-3. They're not a bad team, but they could be had. And I think this is the Browns' revenge. And, teams they just have a thing to rally around their new quarterback. Like you see it all the time. I think the Browns win a close game. I'll take the Browns by a field goal.
Couple rapid fire ones, guys. Chargers at the Green Bay Packers. I bring this game up because it was one of my picks this week on Wire to Wire. I had to pick the Chargers, right? I don't like picking them in any game. I don't know why they're only a 3-point favorite. I think they're a 3-point favorite because they find ways to lose football games. This Green Bay Packers team stinks. They're terrible. I'm sorry, Brett. They're awful. The love boat has left the building. It's sinking. Get off the ship. Lost again last week in ugly fashion over Pittsburgh. I like the Chargers to win this game pretty easily, but the spread tells me it's supposed to be a close game. What do you guys think? Godfrey, I'll start with you.
I see the Chargers winning it. I just don't know if the Packers, they just seem lost. Seem lost on offense. Jordan Love has definitely regressed. I'm definitely not thinking he's that guy. People say give him more chances, but it's definitely not a lack of weapons. People told me how Christian Watson was going to hit it out of the park this year. That hasn't happened. Is that because of the quarterback or him or both? Aaron Jones seems to be hurt constantly, or the coaching staff doesn't want to rely on him. And then A.J. Dillon is always plodding up the middle and lacking vision. So I just think they're a mess all the way around. They're even a bigger mess than Brendan Staley in general. And I think, I just see them having a good day. I see Austin Eckler going crazy all over the field, catching 2-yard passes, and getting it for like 20-yard gains consistently against this team.
Brett, what do you think about your team?
And in all reality, the Chargers blow them out. Matt LaFleur and the coaching staff never has this team ready to play until about the fourth quarter, and by then it's normally too late, or we try to make a furious comeback, and it just doesn't work, and you can't do that against good football teams. The Chargers are a good enough football team that I think we're just going to fall behind big early, and that's it. We're not going to be able to make that last-minute comeback, so I'll take the Chargers, and I'll take them by multiple touchdowns.
Kyle?
I'm going with the Chargers as well. You know, the early season love for the Packers has worn off. They're struggling right now. This is a game the Chargers should win. But like you said, Gene, they find ways to lose it, but I'm going to say they win it by 2 scores, like 10.
Just wondering if any of you guys know without looking this up, who is in second place in the AFC West?
Is it Denver?
Yeah, right? Pretty sure it's Denver. No, it's the Raiders.
That is correct. It is the Raiders.
That's right.
The Raiders with Antonio Pierce are now 2-0. I think that this Raiders team will be scary. They're going to play at Miami to play the Dolphins in what I think will be one of the highest scoring games of the day. Aiden O'Connell and Devontae Adams and that Raiders offense looked good last week. I think they'll be able to run the football versus Miami. I think they'll be able to score with them. I think Miami wins the game, but I think Las Vegas covers. I'll take the Raiders plus the 10.5.
You hear that, Gene? You hear that, hallelujah?
Yeah.
That's everybody's fantasy team saying, thank God that Devontae Adams is starting to show up because things are getting corrected there. Because, God, that is man.
Josh McDaniels is such a rat. I'm so glad he got fired. I loved hearing all the reports about the in-player meeting where they're all trashing Josh McDaniels, and then he got Antonio Pierce to stand up. And did you hear about all this? You guys heard about it?
He's such a Patriot simp. Don't talk about the Patriots that way. Give me a break. Seriously, you're a Raider now. I would have ejected him from the building if I was Mark Davis. Like, you're gone and my barber's gone. Anyway.
Who do you like in this one?
I'm going Raiders.
Plus the 10.5 or outright?
I mean, plus 10.5 is just it's plus 12.5 right now.
Is it really? I'll take.
I'm taking plus 12.5. Listen, when you get double digit in spreads, I'm just going plus 12.5. They got a tough D. That Spillane and Max Crosby are like from Mad Max Beyond the Thunderdome. Like, these guys are like they could be extras in that movie, riding up on like a bike with like, you know, chaps and no sleeves, you know, on their jackets. Like, they're nuts, and they just keep coming for you. I mean, 12.5. I'm not seeing it. I'm not going to take outright, but I'll take the 12.5.
Okay,
100%.
Already 3.
I will. I'll take the Raiders also. I like the way they've been playing. They've been looking real hot lately. I'll take them by like a touchdown. I don't like the idea of teams blowing. It's tough for me to think
so you're
about.
taking the Dolphins by a touchdown. You're not taking the Raiders by a touchdown, are you?
Huh?
You're taking the Raiders to win by a touchdown?
Oh yeah, no, I'm going bold. I'll go Raiders by a touchdown.
Wow. Okay.
Well, listen, if you're going to do that, all I got to say is take a hundo or a 50 plus 570 is what you're getting right now on the money line. Take the points.
Why not?
50 on the points and 50 on the money line. I like it. I like the boldness. Do it, man. Listen, weirder things have happened. Any given Sunday, if you feel that confident, I'm throwing 550 on that.
Yeah, no, they're on a nice run. I think they continue it in what's going to be to many a surprise upset by beating Miami. It'll be fun to watch.
I love
the same thing though that they're gonna. What I do worry about though is, do the Raiders come back down to earth, because Vic Fangio has now had some time with that defense and Jalen Ramsey being back. That's a big piece there.
Aiden O'Connell is a rookie quarterback.
Yeah,
Vic Fangio versus rookie quarterbacks is very good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Kyle, who do you like in this one?
Yeah, I'll take the Raiders to cover. I'm not going to take them to win the game. I do think what's working in the Raiders' favor is an inspired team can do some incredible things on a Sunday. But I think all that lets them, they keep it close, they make it interesting. Dolphins fans might be a little worried about the game, but I think the Dolphins win it by probably a touchdown. But it'll be another good showing from the Raiders.
Game of the week, Commanders, Giants. I'm kidding. We're not talking about that game. That game is awful. But let's move on to let's move on to the last 1 o'clock hour game. This is technically a divisional race game. The Tennessee Titans playing at Duval to take on the Jacksonville Jaguars, who absolutely got a mud stomped last week, by the 49ers, who are coming off the bye. Godfrey, and if you want your prediction to reign true, I would jump off Tennessee. And if you want to pick against Jacksonville, just go with Houston at this point. But if you want your prediction to reign true, got to pick those Titans. Titans at Jaguars Sunday. What do you got?
Well, my prediction when they started out didn't start out with Will Levis at quarterback and them trading half their defense and all that. So it's a little bit different here. I'm going to probably go with the Jags coming off of a loss. I am worried about, though, Trevor Lawrence. I don't know if it's receivers or not, but, like, I was not enthralled by that performance last week. I was just like, and I'm a believer in Trevor Lawrence, but I felt like that was a game they could have did a lot better in than they did, and they should be able to handle a Titans team. The Jags got a good defense, but there are holes on it, but you should be able to pass on the Titans easily. So I'm going to be looking for Calvin Ridley to wake up. I'm not sure.
Big games, though. They lost that game to San Fran, but they're coming off of wins at Pittsburgh, at New Orleans, and then London versus Buffalo. So I think Jacksonville, I think it was a perfect storm for San Francisco to beat up on Doug Peterson and the Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence. But I think that they come back to earth this week. I think the Jaguars look like the Jags. I think ETN runs wild this week. I think Calvin Ridley has a big day. Christian Kirk is their number one, though. It's very clear, very evident. Who do you like in this one, Guardy 3?
I'm going to have to pick the Jags. Part of me wanted to pick the Titans, but the issue I have picking the Titans is their offensive line is just so bad this year. They haven't really been able to protect anybody lately. They're playing statues like Andre Dillard for half the year.
Andre Dillard, former first-round draft pick?
Oh, yeah, that guy. You know him. Yeah, I'll take Jacksonville. I think they're just going to have pressure in the backfield all day, and the offense will do enough to win. I think they'll keep it close. I think it'll keep it within a touchdown, but I do have Jacksonville pulling this one out.
What do you think, Kyle? Will Levis? Is he going on the road, getting a W?
It is the AFC South. One of the divisions with the most random things happen. I will go with the Jags, but I do think the Titans keep it close because, like I said, it's the AFC South, and it's just how it is in that division. But the Jags should win this. If they want to be taken seriously, this is a game they need to win.
Couple more games I want to talk about. Nothing crazy. Team meeting versus team meeting. Players only meeting versus players only meeting. The New York Jets at the Buffalo Bills. You want to talk about a team. I don't know what Josh Allen's going to do this week, right? They're already coming off a loss on Monday Night Football. They are staying at home, but they're playing against a defense that absolutely has their number. They lost early in the season at MetLife with Zach Wilson, and then Zach Wilson didn't do anything. That defense all the time abuses Josh Allen. Jets at Buffalo. Who do you like in this one? I'll start. I'm going with the Buffalo Bills. I think they find a way to win the game because Zach Wilson stinks. He's awful. I think the game plan this week by Joe Brady has to be I don't care if we punt the ball. We cannot turn the football over. I don't care if we get knocked off the field. Do not turn the football over. They don't turn the football over 3 times or more, Buffalo wins this game. Kyle?
It's just so hard picking Bills games now because
I know
what I saw from Josh Allen, it was like, throwing passes, throwing interceptions, just looking up at the sky like he doesn't know what's going on. I don't like the body language from him. I don't know what this whole jig stuff is going on. And in that first matchup, they did have Milano, which they don't have now.
Or Trey Day.
Right. So maybe Zach Wilson. No, I can't even begin to say that statement. But I'll go with the Bills. It's going to be an ugly game.
I've never seen like a more dejected pick.
It's just like
I'll go with the Bills
because I don't like either team as a Patriots fan.
Of course not. You're a Patriots fan.
Hate the Jets more, but it is what it is.
That's interesting. I always like to hear like what division rivals people hate the most, right? Because most Patriots fans hate the Bills more than the Jets. Yeah.
I mean, look, when they finally won the division and they like threw it in everybody's face, that kind of created some bad blood, but the Jets are just the Jets.
Okay.
Rex Ryan, Bart Scott, all that, and I can't stand the Jets.
Cardi 3.
After what the Bills have shown me and all the drama going around them, I'll take the Jets. I think this is going to be ugly, but like I said, and this has proven to be true, the Jets always seem to play Josh Allen tough, that defense. I think Josh Allen doesn't learn from last week. He turns the ball over just enough, and Zach Wilson is unspectacular, but does just enough to not lose them the game. And I think the defense will give them good enough field position that they'll be able to kick enough field goals to win it. So I think this will be ugly, low scoring, but I'll take the Jets.
Okay. Godfrey.
Taking the Bills. There's no way in hell Zach Wilson's going to go up in there on the road and beat the Bills twice this year. Not going to happen. The shine is coming off the Jets right now. I don't know why they're sticking with Zach Wilson and not going with one of the veteran quarterbacks, but this is what they want to do. This is the ship they want to go with. And if they want to stay in contention long enough to get Aaron Rodgers back, this isn't the way. Joe Brady, I think, is a decent offensive coordinator, and I think what he'll bring to the table, if you've paid attention to where he's been offensive coordinator at, one stop was the Carolina Panthers. He's going to get the ball to James Cook more. He's going to give him some passing. He's going to give him some passes. He's going to utilize the running backs more, I think. I think Stephon Diggs is going to get utilized a little bit differently. And I think there will be some smoke to the firing. I think he was a scapegoat, but I think Joe Brady can improve things in the short term for them. And I think you're going to be able to take advantage of it. I mean, let's just look at the Jets defense. They're very good. But Austin Eckler ate them for lunch when they played a couple weeks ago on Monday night. And I think you're going to see a lot of that. And they're going to attack from that area. And maybe he gets Josh Allen rein in. Hey, man, you don't have to play hero ball. But I will say he has had some bad breaks. Like that interception to Gabe Davis should have caught that ball. I mean, 100%. So, I mean, let's not act like this dude's playing like, Clayton Tune in Arizona, right? Like this, like it is still Josh Allen. He is turning the ball over and he can still change the game on the flip of a script. And Stephon Diggs is a playmaker. So I think the Bills are going to come out and they're going to hammer them. They're going to be angry and motivated and they're going to hammer the Jets. There is no way the Jets are beating these Bills.
Okay. Let's move on to another game, another Sunday night football game. This is probably one of my favorite games I'm looking forward to for the week. You have the two teams that are resurgent for the year. The Minnesota Vikings are getting back Jay Jettas. Joshua Dobbs has been playing incredible. They're playing against the Denver Broncos, who after that 70-point egg that got laid on them by Miami, and the Jets coming into Denver and kicking their butt. They're coming off back-to-back wins over Kansas City and Buffalo. The Broncos seem to have got it together. Broncos, Vikings, Sunday night football. Who do you got? Kyle, I'll start with you, brother.
This one also has me torn because I hated to see all the Russell Wilson slander, but Dobbs is such a great story. Like, how do you not root for him? Now, them getting Jefferson back is intriguing. I'm going to take the Vikings on the road here. It's going to be tough. Mile High is, or whatever they call it now, but it is definitely a tough place to play. But I just think there's a little bit more magic there with Dobbs and the Vikings, and I think they find a way to get it done. I'll say maybe a field goal game.
The way to beat the Denver Broncos is to run the football. Minnesota cannot run the football. I'll take the Denver Broncos in this one to win a game. Listen, I love Joshua Dobbs. I love him. Love Josh Dobbs.
The Pastronaut.
Got to be honest with you guys. It's going to end this Sunday. Give me the Broncos Sunday Night Football.
You're not wrong. I mean, it's a great story, the Joshua Dobbs story. But, I mean, listen, I think people have really, really overvalued or undervalued the Broncos based off that 70-point loss they took. They really, really have. If you've been watching them play, there's been things that have come to fruition. Russell Wilson's playing better ball. Javonte Williams He's not all the way back. He still doesn't have his burst yet, but he's breaking tackles at a really good clip. He's running the ball effectively, catching the ball in the backfield. They're saying, like, you know what? Our best offensive player is Javonte Williams. We're going to start putting the ball in his hand. I really think they're starting to figure that out. And people forget, Sean Payton is a great coach at making adjustments to what he has. I want to remind people, there was a season where he lost Drew Brees and I think won 6 games in a row with Teddy Two Gloves. That's amazing, okay? Amazing. You should get Coach of the Year just for winning 6 games in a row with Teddy Two Gloves. I'm sorry. But that being said, people wanted to write that team off, Sean Payton off. They're done. They've beaten the Bills and the Chiefs back to back. You got to give them where credit's due. They're not dead yet. They're not giving up. He's got that team playing. That catch that Cortland Sutton made, I was watching that in England, like it's like 3 a.m. I'm like, whoa. That was an old school Russell Wilson throw. And that was an amazing catch by Cortland Sutton. They have talent on this team. Judy's starting to get involved. They're starting to hit all cylinders. And they had Patrick Surtain's a good quarterback. You can run against them. But I think he's got this team playing well. They're believing. They're buying in. And I do think that the Broncos are going to beat them. I just think that's a tough ask for Josh Dobbs to go on the road in Mile High against a surging team. And I just think they're going to run the ball. And, Russell Wilson's been playing smart ball. He's been playing better. I don't think he's not cooked, as people like to say.
I'm going to give Brian Flores a coaching job. Please.
Oh, yeah. He's done wonderful for the defense.
But that defense has been incredible. Guardy 3, who do you got in this one?
I'll take Denver. I think, like you said, you can run on Denver. I just don't like Alexander Madison, and I don't think he's a very good enough running back to do that with. And Patrick Surtain's a really great weapon to throw against Justin Jefferson, especially in his first game back. You're going out the road with Minnesota. Yeah, I'll take Denver. I think it'll be close. I think it'll be a 10-point game. Denver will be up a touchdown and kick a game-icing field goal late in the fourth. But I think it'll be a fun, close game throughout the entire thing.
I look forward to it, and I can't tell you, I root for Josh Dobbs so much, man. I love everything about this kid's story. You picked the Vikings, all right, Kyle?
Yep.
How about Vikings fans shaving their eyebrows off to show support for Josh Dobbs? I'm like, all right.
I don't know if that's like showing support for alopecia, but whatever.
Well, that's the way they were presenting it. They were doing it not as
I know, but I mean, I don't think it's a good way to show support. But
football fans aren't,
not the smartest in the order. Yeah, I get it.
I mean, listen, I'm pretty sure this guy doing it that I've seen he's not an alopecia expert per se. Let's just say that. But
last game on the docket, Monday Night Football. Number 1 versus number 1. Number 1 in the AFC versus number 1 in the NFC. Both teams coming off a bye. Patrick Mahomes versus Jalen Hurts. Number 1 and 2 in MVP conversations. Last year's Super Bowl matchup. Game's in Arrowhead. Andy Reid is 21-4 coming off a bye. Who do you like in this one, Kyle? Who do you like? Chiefs at home. Travis Kelce. The Swifties will be out.
Yeah, that's a fun group there. I'm going Eagles. I think. I just think if I'm looking at both teams, yes, both teams have had their struggles, but I feel like I'm more optimistic with the Eagles and how they look right now. I mean, yes, the Eagles have had their issues down the middle defensively. That's where Kelsey lives, but I think they can, scheme that against the Chiefs team where the only player you're worried about in terms of weapons outside of Mahomes is Kelsey. Like, you could bracket on Kelsey. He'll still get his catches, whatever, but keep him from big plays, keep him out of the end zone. Force Mahomes to throw to, Rice or Sky Moore or Watson or whoever on those 3rd and 6, 7s that they may get into. I also think for the Eagles, maybe you run the ball a little bit more. Take a little bit off of, Mahomes, off of Hurts and see how that works for you. So give me the Eagles. I'll take them. Take them by 6.
Okay. What do you got in this one, Brett? Guard at 3.
This one, I know all the stats and everything. They point to the Chiefs, but I'll take the Eagles in this one too. I think it'll be a fun game, fun Super Bowl matchup. I just think the Eagles will be that much more motivated. Hurts will be coming out. They'll have that Super Bowl loss in mind. They'll be coming for revenge. They'll be coming out for blood. It will be fun. I think that I'd say this is probably going to be, I'll take Eagles by 7.
Godfrey.
You know, I don't like Gardy B and Kyle taking the Eagles. I feel like you're trying to play what we call the reverse jinx. And I'm not digging it. It's pissing me off. And I appreciate the support, but I feel it may be a little backhanded. But that being said, you know, on Birds Deal, I'm sticking with my same prediction, 27-17. I think the Eagles take it. I just think that this Chiefs defense, while it is good, where they've had trouble, it's when it's a closer game. And what I mean is, when you're ahead and the team has to, you know, play from behind, you can send more blitzers. You can do certain things that you can't do if it's a closer game because you could get burned. And I think that this matches up well for the Eagles. And I think that it's going to be number 5 loss after the bye for Andy Reid in his career. And I just think with the defense they have, there should be no problem with the Eagles holding down those receivers. So we should be able to get after it. I do think that they're going to get rid of the ball quick. Travis Kelce's going to get his. The Swifties are going to be going crazy. And, you know, it's going to be a fun game. But I do think that the Eagles, they seal it off later in the game and they end up winning by 10 points. 27-17 Eagles.
Brett, I know you're a super intelligent man. So I want you to try to give me the winning percentage of 21-4. 21-4. That's when Andy Reid is off a bye. What's that winning percentage look like?
It's 84.
Kyle just coming through quick.
I'll say
84% winning percentage. That's really good.
Yeah.
You know what's better than 84%? 100%. Nick Sirianni is 2-0 off a bye week. Give me the Birds. I don't care. Listen, guys, I'll make up whatever stat I need to make up. I love Philadelphia in this spot. I think Philadelphia runs the football. I think they control the line of scrimmage. I think they've been waiting to get after this quarterback on a field that isn't that friggin' mess they played on last year in Arizona. I think James Bradbury has a huge football game, and I think the Philadelphia Eagles win this football game 30-24. I actually think they kneeled the football out with the ball up 30-24. I don't think that Kansas City or Patrick Mahomes ever have the ball with an opportunity to take the lead in this football game at the end. I think the Kansas City starts hot. I think both offenses start hot. Could be a 17-14 game going into the break. I think a couple turnovers in the second half lead to a Philadelphia victory. I'll take Philadelphia win this game 30-24.
I think Nick's going to have this team ready. I mean, off of a bye. You know they had this game circled on their calendar.
100%. And,
you know, I think the Eagles want to do this. And you got 3 games coming up that didn't seem as winnable that I expect them to go 2-1 at the very least. And, you
Chiefs,
know,
Bills, Cowboys next 3 weeks.
Yeah. And wait, is it? Oh, yeah. The Niners are after that. That's right. So, listen, at the end of the day.
No, you're right. It's Chiefs, Bills, 49ers, Cowboys. You're right.
Yeah. So, at the end of the day, listen, I think the Eagles are ready for this. Jalen had the circle on his calendar. They have it circled. They want to come in Arrowhead and take this game. And they want to show them that they're the better team. And I feel like they're, you know, they've been 2 weeks. They're ready. They're prepared for this team.
What a nightmare scenario for Philadelphia, though. 5 straight weeks, 5 games that are just absolutely brutal. At Kansas City, home versus Buffalo, home versus San Francisco, at Dallas, at Seattle. That's a nightmare schedule. Now, granted, they end with 3 hand me the cakewalk, the easiest games. They end with New York, Arizona, New York. Giants are absolutely brutally terrible. I think they're the worst team in football right now. And then Arizona. But this 5-game stretch will be the biggest 5-game stretch, the toughest 5-game stretch any team will go through this year. You played Chiefs, Bills, 49ers, Cowboys, 4 straight weeks. Just so you know, That's 4 of the top 6 Super Bowl favorites.
Yeah.
And if you remove yourself, it's 4 of the top 5 Super Bowl favorites.
Yeah, sure. Learn a lot about this team over the next 5 weeks.
Yep.
We couldn't have came at a better time. I love Philadelphia in the spot Monday night. I do think they could have a letdown game or a little bit of like an in-between game versus Buffalo next week at home.
Right.
Don't quote me there yet. Any final thoughts, gentlemen, before we wrap up?
Yeah, I'd like to congratulate Kyler Murray winning a game with Call of Duty dropping a new game around the same week. Amazing that he was able to overcome.
But it wasn't
that game.
Warzone, so it doesn't matter. It was just multiplayer. It wasn't Warzone.
Listen, I'm just saying, he was on there playing. I was in a group with him. I'm joking, I wasn't, but still, good. I'm glad he came back. He had a decent game. The kid's knee is healed. Let's see what he can do. You know what I mean?
I got a real nice upset special for you guys this week. Nice one. I don't think they'll win, but I'm almost sure they cover. I love, and I mean love, as an upset pick this week, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers plus 10.5 at Frisco. Love it.
Okay.
Wow.
Putting it on record. Guardy 3.
I'd love to see that.
I'm telling you, it's going to happen. It'll be close.
Oh, my final thought is I'm excited for this weekend of football. Get it started off right. Tomorrow, celebrate my birthday, and hopefully watch the Packers win this week. I'm not banking on it, but let's hope so.
Happy birthday, dear Guardy 3. I'm not going to go too deep in this. Kyle, any final thoughts?
Well, it's a weekend of football I can watch without the Patriots
Ruining it?
breaking my heart. So I can sit back and watch games and just enjoy it for what it is. And,
breaking my heart. What do you think about, just 30 seconds, so we got to wrap up.
Yeah.
What do you think about the thoughts the reports that coming out that Bill Belichick already has another team lined up?
I mean, I've seen all of that. I mean, look, Robert Kraft put a lot of pressure on him in the offseason. Doesn't like what's going on. So Belichick's not a dumb guy. If he's thinking of,
what pressure did he put on the win?
No, he put pressure on him as because Kraft hated what happened last year with Patricia being an OC, and he put out a statement we're not going to do that this year. We're going to operate like a legit NFL team. And that's kind of what led to some of the moves with the coaching staff. And plus, Robert Kraft loves Gerard Mayo, who's on the coaching staff, who's probably be Belichick's successor.
I don't see him going anywhere, but if he goes anywhere, watch out for Belichick to the Chargers.
Chargers and the Commanders are the 2 leading dogs in the clubhouse. Well, that's it this week for Sideline to Sideline. We will talk about this more next week as more developing information comes. We appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate all likes, follows, and shares. Thank you so much. Let's get into some Amazon Prime football, and it's starting now. We are signing out.
I mean, you can see right now, without LeBron, Lakers are struggling.
Let me tell you about a team I hate, all right? I know the Dallas